Welcome back and moving on to our first segment for today, talking about the latest developments in Gaza Strip. Well, yesterday we have dozens of foreigners and Palestinians with double or dual nationalities were able to leave to enter through the Rafah crossing border to Egypt. And of course, this was very, very important, and also allowing injured people to enter. And here over the phone, we have Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of International Negotiation. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. So first of all, let's shed the light on how important it was to allow foreigners to get out of the Gaza Strip due to all what is happening on over there, in addition to those with dual nationalities and the wounded people.
Yes, of course, this would reflect that the Egyptian stance is very clear in helping in humanitarian affairs, but as the president and the leadership is so adamant and so decisive, there is a big difference between helping the Palestinians out with all what Egypt can do, but no transfer. This is the Egyptian policy stated by the political leadership and supported by the entire Egyptian people, who refuses this kind of, we consider transfer as a very aggressive, very undermining any peace in the area.
Sir, talking about those who were able to leave, I'm talking basically on the foreigners. So don't you think they can tell to the whole world the real catastrophe and what was really happening inside, away from false information that they used to show or to reflect through their media?
Yes, actually, yes, they can do that, of course. But they are not the only people who can do that. You know, the media, the Western media in particular, in the very early days of the outbreak of this war, brainwashed most of the people all over the world by real propagandistic statements, ignoring totally the dehumanization of Palestine, the larger context of the problem of Palestine, and the siege on Gaza, and the problem of the Palestinian issue for more than 50 years, or in some other dates, 75 years actually. So this larger context is extremely important. But well, yes, the people who have witnessed this can tell something about the horrible situation, inhuman, the dehumanizing of Israeli to the Palestinians, which is totally rejected. Now the whole world, with all the streets in the demonstrations in the streets, have discovered the lies and the propagandistic nature of what we have been exposed to in the Western media for 3-4 days or 4-5 days. And if it still continues, nobody is believing them. The demonstration from South Africa, South America, to America itself, to Britain, to France, to Rome, all these demonstrations in Asia, all over the world, all the contents of the world now know there is a real catastrophic humane crisis. And the Palestinian has the right to have their own land and their own, and it is against dehumanizing Palestinians. We have listened even to popular songs came, countryside music and other type of music. They are singing now to call for Palestinian rights to live against the dehumanization of the Palestinians. I think that the memory, the collective memory of the world now will never forget the war crimes conducted by the Israelis. And I think that the Israelis are going for self-defeating strategy if they not quit and apologize and get back to the peaceful track and continue to do this under the umbrella of Israel is defending itself, Israel is sabotaging the whole area by doing what it was doing. The collective memory would be very harsh, and Israel will pay a price for that.
Yeah, also what I meant, because they are inside and they are going to tell their people. Sometimes when you listen to something through the media, you're not going to believe it. But when one of your own community will tell you, it's going to be completely different. I mean, for example, when they were talking about the concept that they have warned they are going to attack the hospital, and they asked for the evacuation of the hospital, which definitely not logic at all. In addition to this, the concept of attacking refugee camp. So how do you see this?
Yes, as I've told you, yes, those who really were released out of this conflict and came back to the other side of the conflict can tell people. But actually, I insist that many people in the world now knew. And when you are talking about hospitals, you have seen foreigners who are serving in these hospitals and these places are very eloquent about how angry are they because of what they have witnessed. And their videos are all over the world now.
Right. Talking about the role Egypt is playing, and of course, when we talk about, yes, from the very beginning, Egypt did not close Rafah border, allowing more humanitarian aid to be inside and asking to guarantee the safety, because it's a must to reach the Palestinian people stuck inside, and the children and women, and of course not with the idea that they are looking for just moving the Palestinians into another land.
Actually, I have to clarify one important point about Rafah crossing. You know, the Rafah crossing is supposed to be managed by Egyptian authorities, yes. But well, and it's open all the time, by the way. But people should understand one thing, which is very important. We say open up, calling for Egypt, open up the Rafah crossing, open up the Rafah crossing. They are misinformed about the nature of that crossing. Yes, you can allow anything to go through, but there is a second phase of this crossing. It is controlled by, supposedly, by the PLO, but when there was a movement, Hamas is separated from the PLO. You know, Israel recognized only the PLO, but nobody there. So the Israelis are in control of the second phase of the crossing. So it is not entirely Egyptian decision. There is some other partner. So the Israeli partner is supposed to be much more to the track of humanitarian aid, much more to the track of responding correctly to the call for international community to bring the aid, humanitarian aid for the Palestinians with no conditions, with all types of aid. You know, when you are saying no for the fuel, no for the gas, you are talking about what? You are afraid that this would go to Hamas, but this is an essential for managing hospitals, electricity, etc. So basic life is denied now, and the Palestinians are living in a very desperate and very miserable situation that the whole world is upset because of it, and Israel has to respond much more, far more positively regarding this issue.
Well, talking about what's happening and the role of the United States and the international community and how important it is to reach a truce or a ceasefire over there, and the concept that up till now didn't they get the message that it will never happen, not only the Egyptian leadership but Egyptians all of them, they will not accept the idea of removing the Palestinians from their land to Sinai. And still, Israel is putting more pressure on the Palestinians as if there is no other solution. So don't you think up till now they didn't get the message, or the international community and the United States start to put some pressure on Israel to stop attacking these innocent civilians?
Yeah, this is complicity with capital C. You know, the United States and all foreign powers are encouraging, forceful, despite the fact that President Biden himself agreed with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on a telephone call and other statements that there shouldn't be a transfer to the Palestinian of to Sinai, after having listened to the views provided by the president. But in reality, without ceasefire, without allowing the humanitarian aid, we in Egypt and all over, any objective analyst would understand that there is an attempt to force transfer. And this is much more terrible. And this are going to jeopardize the chances for the entire peace process and other things, which would be catastrophic for the entire world, not only for one part.
And I think also the concept of cutting out all sources of energy as well for these people, and even the network in general, so as they have been isolated. And we have seen the role of Egypt as well, and how Egypt tried to carry on some of the networks to be very close to the Rafah crossing border so that they can reach a source of net over there.
Yes, I think Egyptian authorities are exerting all possible efforts to help the Palestinians to be there in their land and cover them with their basic needs. And actually, one of the most important basic needs now is what we are talking about when it comes to social media, about getting your voice reached. So I think it was an excellent move on the part of the Egyptian government to create some kind of technological moves to help sending on the air what could enable the Palestinians to open up for the world for using the telephones, the mobiles, the social media. They can get their voice reached. And I think that the Israelis tried to respond to that because of the Egyptian move, mainly.
Talking about the Arab countries, and how far can the solidarity of the Arab countries in the region can put more pressure on Israel to reach a ceasefire as well? How do you see it?
I would see it like that. When it comes to demonstrations, many Arab capitals showed that the anger of the people are expressed well and supporting the leadership as well, but against this kind of atrocity of the other side. But how the Arabs should handle this, I think we need an Arab summit with a strong, decisive decrees. You know, we have seen Bolivia has down diplomatic relations with Israel, and Bolivia, we remember that we have in Cairo here a circus called Simon Bolivar near to Maspiro and near to Tahrir, because we celebrate the free will of the people all over the world. So I think that Egyptian leadership and the Egyptian people cannot accept anything but the free will of the people. So hopefully the free will of the Arab people, all Arab peoples. I think that a summit is needed with a strong kind of decisive decision to be taken. And remember Bolivia.
back to the international community, and regardless of the hidden, even though they are not hidden anymore, I'm talking about the agenda of the international leadership in general. But reaching citizens and just reflecting the real image, and how can the international community, the citizens themselves, and we have seen many demonstrations around the world, they are supporting the Palestinians and they refuse the policy of their own leadership, because if they are thinking of peace and stability and they want to live in peace, it's not going to be like this if you are accepting that you are attacking other innocent civilians, taking from them their homeland, in addition that you refuse to allow them to defend themselves.
Yeah, could be summarized in one word: stubbornness, one-track-mindedness, self-defeating strategies by the Israelis. This will not be accepted, and it will have terrible repercussions. People are trying to curb their nerve, to curb their angry, but again, if this is to continue to dehumanize people like that, killing civilian people like that, I don't think that the end point of this would be for the sake of the Israelis in the first place and in other places in the world.
So at the end, how do you see the role so far of Egypt that we are playing right now, especially that Egypt has been one of the countries from the very beginning, has always been supporting Palestinians and always backing them in many different situations?
Yes, I think that the Egyptian leadership is exposed now to a tough pressure, but the decisions are adamant for the right of the Palestinians to have their own state, not to liquidate the Palestinian issue as the Israeli want, and they will never achieve that. And I think that the Egyptian leadership has demonstrated what we call emotional stability and accepting all this pressure. But everything has an end. The Israelis have to understand that. The Americans have to understand that. The world power has to understand that.
Right. Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of International Negotiation, thank you very much for joining us. And right now, moving on to a quick break, then we'll be back with more on The Breakfast Show.